I met with a future client last week and he asked me a question that I get a lot. And I thought, man, I got to do a video about that. So that client asked me after talking through reference-based pricing and what that means for an employer health plan and what it can do, he said, why haven't I heard of this? Why hasn't my broker mentioned this to me? And there's a few answers. So I thought, let's put them together. So the first reason that somebody may not have heard of reference-based pricing would just be simply that the company's too small. Typically, I want to see 200 to 300 employees on a plan before I self-fund that plan. And reference-based pricing is a form of self-funding. Now, I get it. There's exceptions to this, right? That's a generality. You can self-fund all the way down to 50. I've even heard some people talking about 25, which is insane to me. But with a captive in some localities, especially if you have existing claims data, you can self-fund smaller than 200. You can. It's not the way I roll typically. I mean, it has to be a pretty extreme circumstance for me to do that. So by and large, you got to have 200 to 300 employees to get into this level of game where you can actually reference-based price your plan. So the other reason, the second reason, number 4, counting down on my list to the most important ones, would be you're just in a really difficult spot. And I don't mean state. Like, some states are better for reference-based pricing than others. I happen to live in California where everybody thinks it's really hard and you can't do it. Totally wrong. I do it all day long. We kill it. Texas and Florida are great states for reference-based pricing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about locality. Like, you might have most of your population in one location next to a rural hospital who is known to be hostile to reference-based pricing and doesn't want to work with you. That can make reference-based pricing really difficult if you really only have one hospital choice and you're right next to them. That's another reason your broker may not have mentioned reference-based pricing to you. And now we get to the fun reasons. This is where I win friends and influence people. I'm a dangerous broker, folks. I'm totally in this game for the fun of it and the sport at this point, to do the right thing, client by client, case by case, family by family. I don't care if I don't generate giant amounts of premium and commission anymore in my career. That's not what I'm about. I'm here to do the right thing, and I'm here to fight. And healthcare is so screwed up, you need somebody like me to fight for you. You cannot rely on the system and the status quo. So there's a picture of me here, a much younger man with a thick head of hair, 21 years ago, this article. I've been in this fight for 22 years. I was in it for 10 years before that in college and law school as a part-time student. I'm an attorney. I teach employee benefits at the university level. And this is a fight I have been engaged in my entire career. I reduce healthcare costs with premium audits, with reference-based pricing, with cash steerage options, with direct primary care, with free market independent TPMs, free market privately held independent TPAs. Did I say TPMs? I meant PBMs and TPAs. This is just what I do, right? This is not the easy button. The odds are your broker doesn't know how to do this. And I don't say that to be mean. I do this all the time. There's 9 different repricers I've worked with over the years. There's a smaller handful than that I work with regularly now. And they're constantly telling me, Craig, there's like 2, maybe 4% of brokers that even understand what we do in reference-based pricing. And I've regularly had repricers and TPAs tell me I am by far in the top 1% of what's going on in this world. And I don't, take it for what it's worth. I'm an attorney. I've been involved in these litigations. I've been involved in these mediations, arbitration. I get brought in when other brokers screw this up, which happens with regularity. I clean them up. I put it back on the path, and then I make sure that it stays clean. I have been brought in by other brokerages to train their people on reference-based pricing. I've worked with people who've been in this industry 30 years and wanted to learn this and just couldn't wrap their heads around it because there are a lot of moving pieces. It is not the easy button. You've got to understand how the PBM works. You've got to understand the repricing mechanism. You've got to understand all the legalities around what you can and can't get away with in the repricing world. It is not where you just grab the latest broker who came in out of college and is trying to schlep insurance. That is not what this is. So I don't say this to be mean. I just say it's very likely your broker does not know what this is. Now, even if they do know what it is, it is a ton of work, and a lot of them don't want to do it. Like I said, coaching these older brokers, I find this a lot. They've 25, 30, 40 years in the industry. They might intuitively understand exactly what's going on here and have a pretty good idea, but they don't want to do it. They're sitting on a $2-3 million book of business. That commission's rolling in year after year. You're getting your 8, 10, 12% renewals. They just keep getting richer and richer. Life is good for them. The last thing they want to do is do a ton of work for a client they already have on the books. It's just the reality, folks. Again, thank God to the Mahoney Group because they let me say these kinds of things, and I don't have to watch anymore any kind of corporate, PR police looking at me and how I roll. But that's the reality. I'll get to the biggest reason. The biggest reason is this: brokers get paid less when we do this. Now, again, I have brethren across the country, good brokers and fantastic ones that do know how to reference-based price. And they'll talk to you about how you can put in a higher PEPM and you can get paid more, and you can put in a structure where you get bonused up the more your client saves and all. That's fine. That's fine. There's brokers that can do that. I'm not about that. I'm not about making a ton more money on you to fix your health plan. I get paid less. It's the bottom line. It's the truth, right? When we put in a fully insured plan, which heaven forbid, I don't want to ever have to do anymore in my career. When we put those in, we're paid quite often, not always, but quite often it's 3, 4, or 5% of your premium. So when your premium goes up 10 points, the broker gets a 10-point raise. It's the easy button year after year. There's 4 or 5 national carriers. They don't have to do a lot of work. They send out an RFP once in a while and boom, they get a pay raise. They're on the golf course. Times are good, right? That's not me. That is not me, folks. I'm in here in the office on a Sunday making videos about RBP because I'm fired up about it. I don't work anymore because I need the paycheck. I work because I know how to fix your health plan and I want to show you how to do it. And I want to fix your health plan because every time I do that, I save a whole pile of families and individuals a ton of money and I fix your compensation structure. That's what we're here to do. And it drives me up the wall when I run into these corporate stiffs. And oh, have I in my career who say things like, oh, that reference-based pricing, those cash steerage options, the direct primary care, all that stuff it's marginal. It won't work in the long run. Fine. My clients right now, the ones that it's working for, they're paying 40% less for healthcare today. So you can overpay if you want, but the reality is this isn't for everybody. And brokers are paid less. Again, it's just the reality. So brokers they're not super eager to bring something to the table that pays them less. I am. I'm stupid like that. Like I said, I don't need the paycheck. I'm doing this because I want to do what's right. And I know this is where I can impact your business the most. Have a great day. I'm going to see you at renewal season.